Hey guys, TexAgs Rewind here on a Tuesday. No funny jokes because I'm busy today. I got the college football show I do. It's called Up to the Second College Football. We'll be recording that here momentarily. But on the show, 25-95, Charean Williams breaking down the Aggies and that wrecking crew. They looked phenomenal this weekend. Urban Meyer, how long is he going to be in the NFL? Looks like he wants to leave right now. We kind of talked a little bit about that. Maybe USC out there. Connor O'Gara, he also talks a little bit about what's next at USC, breaks down the Aggies as well. And let's get to know New Mexico. That's the team the Aggies are playing. This is the team that I think the Aggies are going to destroy if you listen to what they had to say about their own team. That defense was something else.
Oh, my goodness. What a great performance. That was one of the all-timers in A&M history. Give them the win. Anthony Johnson was just incredible. I'll tell you what, that kid keeps getting better and better and better. And you saw the impact that Michael Clemens had. That is truly the wrecking crew is back. Maybe I had some doubts before that game, but the wrecking crew is back. And I know that's not the greatest of quarterbacks they play. They're going to play tougher opponents than that, and they're going to need more offensive production to help them out. But when A&M needed them most to win a game, when they didn't have their starting quarterback and they have to bring in the backup, they stood up and they said, we are not going to be the reason the Aggies lose this game. We may not win the game, but we are not going to be the reason the Aggies lose. And they weren't. They did everything possible to keep A&M in that game. They did it, and then Calzada pulled it out. It was really a remarkable performance, start to finish, by that defense.
John, is Urban Meyer going to coach in college football next year, or will he stay in the NFL?
Yeah, are you reading my rundown for today's radio show? I just made a log into my rundown here. Urban Meyer will not be coaching the Jaguars in 2 years. I think he's got this year and next year at the most, and it may be USC this year. I mean, who knows? USC's got the job opening, as we all know, with Clay Helton out. He looked like he was about to have an aneurysm on the sideline, and it was week one. He's just not cut out for it. You give him a lot of talent and maybe some an overwhelmed opponent every week, and he coaches his butt off. But the NFL, he's got to get used to 6 or 9 or 10 losses, and that's just not him.
I don't want to see him at LSU. Not that that's a good fit, but I don't want to see him at LSU because I think he is a very good college football coach for his short stint, whatever the stint is.
Yeah, I don't know. There's this thing about LSU and Orgeron, and are they going to fire him now? That I don't think a lot of people have really recognized, the old nobody's talking about thing that we always hear on the radio as well. And that is they don't have money. LSU does not have money. It's not like, sure, alums can, pile a bunch of money in front of a coach and bring him in. But what kind of look is that going to be when they're already getting criticized? They lost academically, the university lost $56 million last year. Athletically, they were in I think $71 million shortfall last year. But just because of a number of reasons, go back to Harvey, go back to, a number of things that they're going on in their economy. They have a tough row to hoe at LSU. I could easily see, and I know this is going to make the old message board, I could easily see LSU falling off pretty significantly just because of what's being recruited around them. Alabama, A&M, Oklahoma. They're in that sort of Bermuda Triangle between those three schools that are recruiting their butts off, and their budget shortfall. Who's going to want to go there when the whole university is getting criticized, and they don't have the money to go out and money whip a guy anymore?
Let's talk about Clay Helton for a second. Gets fired. I'm not surprised he got fired. I don't think anybody's surprised, but maybe after the second week of the season, we don't really know much about Stanford yet. They may be better than people think. The Pac-12 may be better, but are you surprised? They could have fired him last year. He went 6-1. They fired him after 2 games this year.
It's one of those things that if you just look at the big picture and you say, is Clay Helton the guy moving forward? No. Then you make the move and you don't risk in this very critical time for the recruiting calendar falling behind. And I think that's kind of what they were looking at. Still surprising to hear that after week 2, after a guy loses 1 game. Really, you pretty much decided right then and there you're not in the hunt for the Pac-12 title, and Oregon's on a different level. Maybe UCLA's on a different level. And I now look across the landscape of college football and I see all these coaches. And I know Jimbo, a lot of people on the outside were looking at that extension saying, oh man, who are they competing against? There are so many coaches in college football right now who maybe are going to get raises as a direct result of USC having this vacancy. Because if you throw that USC job at a lot of different coaches, man, that's tough to turn down. And I don't know who's turning down that job, because it is still tremendous in the NIL era, being in LA, the advantage is there. I think that it's a tremendous job, and they're going to be able to throw some money at some big time candidates. That list is going to be long, and it's going to have probably a ripple effect throughout the rest of college football.
So tell us a little bit about Terry Wilson. We faced him. The Aggies faced him a couple years back at Kentucky. How has it been with him there at New Mexico? What skills does he bring to the table?
New Mexico has struggled with quarterbacks in the last couple of years. A lot of it has just been very unlucky. They've had a lot of injuries. So they were going to need a guy that was going to be consistent. You know, he hasn't gotten injured right now. And also he's very talented. So that in itself helps. He's a really great leader off the field. Let's start there. He has a very calm and down-to-earth sort of attitude, but at the same time, he calls out his teammates whenever they're not doing something right. And obviously he has a lot of experience. He's coming from Kentucky. So he's been in some big games. So he feels the pressure, but not really as much. So very talented player. The very first game against HBU, he actually got injured that morning and he wasn't 100%. So the stats right now probably don't reflect how good he's going to be later on, because that game, although he did pretty decently, he was not 100%. And then this last game, now he's the Mountain West Offensive Player of the Week because of how he performed against the Aggies. So I think stuff like that, like what you saw against NMSU, is something you can expect to see from him later on.
All right, guys, you know what to do. It's very easy. Like, subscribe, comment, and become a member of TexAgs.com. Thanks so much for watching. It is TexAgs Rewind.